people and stuff.
You've got a house full. The stadium's not that much fuller than your house.
Yeah, but most of the people...
Be quieter.
I gave birth to. It's not quieter because Joshua comes too. So it finished Hull FC 20, Wakefield 14 after Hull leading 8-6 at half-time. And Ben Thaler was the man in the middle with the whistle even. He was the referee. Stats showed that Wakefield made over 200 more metres at a marginally better average gain and had an error less than their hosts. Hull gave up 6 penalties to 2, however they had a better team tackle success rate and an extra break, although it was the 3 more goals kicked that gave the winning margin. Individually, Joe Cater with 54 tackles, not bad. Andre Savelio, 1 try and 48 tackles. Carlos Tumivavi, 1 try and 133 metres. And Josh Griffin with 138 metres. For Wakefield, Lee Kershaw with 1 try and 181 metres, most of which I think was made scoring that 1 try.
Yeah.
Jay Pitts with 43 tackles, 12 marker tackles, Joe Westerman 134 metres, and James Batchelor 1 try and 40 tackles.
There was something from the disciplinary on this one, which I'm sure no one's really surprised at, with the Simbin on the stroke of half-time for Beretta Faraimo's high tackle. He received a grade C high tackle charge from the disciplinary, which carries with it a 2-match penalty notice. So I guess that'll bring back the calls and questions as to why it wasn't a red card on the day, but we'll see what the fan reviews say first, I suppose.
Yep, so Always in Our Shadow said you can't win without the ball. Well, FC proved that to be bollocks. Total commitment in defence left the FC old boys struggling to find a way through. Perhaps POB can explain how Lino was ever onside for his try as still getting up from behind the play of the ball.
I couldn't believe that try was given.
No.
Like, I just assumed that because he never got onside, he couldn't be onside. It's not like the next phase of play or whatever bollocks they talk about in, soccer, or I don't know if that's even a thing anymore. But yeah, I didn't get it. And when they were watching it back to see if he was onside us in line or not, I thought when they went back to look at it again, they'd had that light bulb moment of, oh wait, he was offside at the play of the ball, not he was behind the man who charged it down. Not he was even in front of the man who charged it down. But no, they missed it. They completely missed one there, didn't they? I don't think you can criticise the match official necessarily for it in the middle, because the video ref had a clear opportunity to call that one and didn't.
Yeah, I think it was a total mess up by the video ref, and thankfully it didn't affect the result.
No, and also these things even itself out because Beretta Faraimo didn't get sent off. Mark Snide's cursed left foot said, Hull's strong and resolute defence to absorb... Who is behind this cursed left foot, by the way?
I don't know.
We'll find out. Hull's strong and resolute defence to absorb Wakey's pressure was the tail of the game. Hull took the try as well, and although Wakey probed, we put them to the sword. Swift and Taylor are looking like our best players so far. I think Swift got the 3 Man of Steel points, actually. But we really miss Reynolds in attack. Wigan is the real test next week. Hull's D is strong, but can we keep composed and take our opportunities? I wonder if my jesting has cursed Mark Snide. Who's next?
Yeah.
He kicked you to victory in this game, though.
He did, but I think when you're injured, kicking from the spot is different to kicking a drop goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Joshua's granddad said, not pretty, but a win is a win. Connor guilty of trying to cut out to winger too often. Defence stood up well and did its job. Faraimo challenge nowhere near as bad as Wells would have you believe.
Steve Pye said, another step forward under Hodgson. Poor decision making and discipline at times, but you could not fault the effort and ability to dig deep to win it. Another game we would have lost last year. Keep it up, FC.
And Tom Andrews said, I know I'm very anti-Hull, but I think they were lucky to be playing a team as bad as Wakey. Yeah, Tom, like you were lucky to be playing a team as bad as Leeds. Hull looked tired, can't blame them after last week, and it was only Wakey's mediocre attack that kept them in it. Flymer lucky to stay on the pitch. Remember him getting red carded for an identical thing on Chris Atkins a couple of years ago. I think the difference was with the Chris Atkins one, it was purely shoulder. It wasn't a tackle, and he left the floor to make it.
He left the floor on this one, though. That's the one thing that I thought would have made it in. Certainly, that must have taken account into the grading of it for certain. Possibly. Because he left his feet, and he has a tendency to do that, doesn't he? And it's dangerous when you do that because you're then out of control.
Yeah.
What did you make of it?
I thought in real time it didn't look particularly bad, to be perfectly honest. It was fractionally late, but I didn't think that there was a lot in it until the player went down, to be perfectly honest. And then, I don't know, you see it in slow motion and slow immersion, and yes, it does look worse each time. I
think I couldn't be certain straight away that he had hit him in the head and it wasn't more like a whiplash sort of thing that's caused the head injury. My main issue with it was that it was obviously sort of out of control in that he'd left the floor and jumped up into him, and there's every chance when you do that you are going to hit the guy in the head. And I do agree it wasn't quite such a clear shoulder barge jumping off the floor that we've seen him do in the past before, but still he left the floor. It was certainly a bit late. Whether it was that late on its own as a late challenge thing, I'm not sure, but when you wrap it all up together, it was late and it was high and it was out of control. I'd sort of expect a red. But having said that, on all of the replays, I wasn't absolutely certain that he'd hit him in the head.
No.
I thought he had, but I wasn't certain that he had. So it's then, where do we go with that sort of call? Do we want to err on the side of punishing a reckless tackle on the chance that it might have hit the head? Or do we want to sort of let the player stay on the pitch, although be it with a sin bin, because we're not certain? And that's kind of the philosophical thing that the referees and that side of the game needs to come up with, I guess, Sarah.
Yeah, I think as well, I struggle with the fact that when Sky are showing these things again, they've slowed them down so far that it's so difficult to work out, therefore, how late a tackle is, because when it's so slow, you can't work it out.
And they're slowing it down to look for where the point of contact is, aren't they, rather than how late it is, I suppose.
Yeah.
I take what you're saying, certainly.
But also, then you get into, it's that slow that you've actually blurred the image, so nobody's any the wiser anyway.
Yeah, maybe so. Certainly, I wouldn't have been surprised or anything if it was a red card. I'm certainly not shocked at the ban that he's picked up.
No, I think I'm not shocked at the ban he's picked up.
Shall we talk about everything else?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I think we absorbed an awful lot of pressure, and certainly early on, and managed to keep Wakefield out, which I thought was real credit to our defence, because there was a lot of pressure on our line. We were giving away a ridiculous number of 6 agains and penalties. It was difficult to sort of, I think it comes back to my point that I've made before. These 6 agains, you've got no idea what they're actually for, which I just find that slightly frustrating, because I want to know what it's for and what they've done wrong.
Some of the referees, you can hear it a bit better than others, and this is where actually being able to hear the referees is probably a good thing, because you can get, because it can be a number of things, can't it? It can be not square, it can be taking too long in the tackle, it can be hand on ball in the tackle.
Yeah.
a couple of I think Liam Moore is very good at. You actually hear very clearly 6 again, hand on ball, 6 again, not square. I'm not sure if you always hear it as clearly with all the other referees.
Yeah, no, and I do think that would be something that was useful, because at least when, there's a penalty, you know what the penalty's for. You can agree or disagree with it, but you know that it's for whatever.
I mean, let's just assume, though, because we're all fans, we're going to disagree if it's against our team and agree if it's for our team, because that's generally what we do.
Yeah, I think, with the number we gave away, I would be interested just to know what they were all for. And obviously, none of them were justified because they were all biased against us. But I thought Joe Westerman had a very good game for Wakefield. Chris Green ran with more purpose than he ever has done, apart from in a semi-final for us.
Yeah, good shout.
I mean, their try, it was one of those frustrating ones, wasn't it? Jake Connor with that pass that he's about to put in, and Kershaw read it correctly and swifted overrun it, so it wasn't ever going to be able to chase back, and nobody else was fast enough or close enough. So
and it just showed how hobbled Mark Snide was, wasn't it, on that run back?
Yeah, because normally actually he does have a reasonable.
Yeah, he's not slow. You would have thought at least he would have had a chance of maybe stopping him from going right under the sticks.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it was nice to see Liggy Sow back. I thought Cervellia had another good game.
Yeah, and ran a great line for his try. And actually, one of the things I was thinking when I was watching it is if James Batchelor on the other side in the sort of opposite second row to Cervello could have run that same kind of start in then step out line, Wakefield probably would have had 3 tries in that first half, but he couldn't time it up right, and he kept just coming back inside to the teeth of the defence, really, rather than a couple of times where he might have had a sliver of a chance of getting that gap that Cervello hit. So you got to say that part of that is because it's not that easy to do, to change direction like that when you're that size at that speed and thinking about catching a ball. So credit Cervello on what he did, but James Batchelor should be watching that and think, what can I learn from what he does, or what Farrell or these good second rowers who pick those lines. You
feel like he's maybe not a million miles off, don't you?
Yeah.
Maybe needs a little bit of different coaching or something.
Yeah, and he did score a try, didn't he, himself, chasing up a kick, which was good for him.
Yeah, I was about to say something then. I've got no idea.
You said about Cervello, so...
Oh, yeah, and obviously we lost Bowden very soon after he came on, didn't we? Have you seen... There's a photo of his arm. Have you seen it?
No, but it was a hyperextended elbow, wasn't it? So I'm guessing it shows his arm going the other way.
No, it's one that he's posted. And it says, "I owe you one, Cervello," and from about halfway between his wrist and his elbow and up to his shoulder, it's just purple.
Oof.
I actually thought it was somebody posting about some new tattoo they had gotten. And then I realised. But yeah, when you think, ow, that is going to hurt.
I think if we're seeing quite a bit of friendly fire, aren't we, this year? I'm not sure if Grant Millington, when he got knocked out in the Wigan Cast game, whether it was Joe Bullock's run or one of the other members of his team coming round sort of trying to stop that run that caught him, because it seemed like he kind of got caught on the side of his head from an arm coming round the back. And we've seen it in a few of the other Sky games, haven't we, as well?
Yeah, there have been quite a number of them, really, haven't there?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I've got a lot more to say, really. Jay Pitts, I think he played well as well for them.
I think all of Wakefield's players played better than we probably were expecting, let's say.
Yeah, I feel like I can pick out more good players for Wakefield than I can for us, but maybe that's just because...
We expect 5s from them and they played at 7s, whereas we expect 8s from your guys and they played at 7s.
Yeah, yeah, quite possibly.